Welcome, everyone! Today, you're about to witness one of the most powerful and important stories in human history. This is not a fictional tale. This is a real story. The story of a boy who was born into a world of bloodshed, betrayal, and broken empires, and somehow, without anyone expecting it, became the most powerful man on earth, the first emperor of Rome. His name was Augustus. You may have heard of Julius Caesar. He was the man who changed Rome, but Augustus was the one who truly built it. He didn't do it by shouting. He didn't do it by showing off his muscles. He did it with something far more powerful: his mind. His patience, his silence, his focus, and his timing. In this story, you will learn how an 18-year-old teenager with no army and no experience became the ruler of the world. How he fought through betrayals, civil wars, and deadly enemies and survived. How he defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra, two of the most powerful people of his time. And how he transformed Rome from a chaotic republic into a strong and peaceful empire that lasted for centuries. This is not just history. This is strategy. This is power. This is transformation. And if you are learning English, this story is perfect for you because it is written in simple English so you can understand every sentence. You will improve your vocabulary, listening, and confidence while enjoying a story that will inspire you. So before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel because here we don't just teach English. We teach life. We give you stories that stay in your heart. We help you grow and become the person you were meant to be. Now let's begin the true story of the boy who became emperor. Chapter 1. The boy who lost his father and found a legacy before he was called Augustus. His real name was Gaius Octavius. He was born in 63 BC in a small town near Rome. His family was not poor. They belonged to the equestrian class, which meant they had some status but were not among the most powerful families in Rome. However, Octavius had one special connection. His mother Asia was the niece of Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome. When Octavius was still a boy, his father died. He was raised by his mother and grandmother. He was often sick and physically weak. He was not a soldier and did not look like a warrior. He grew up with books, teachers, and quiet thinking. From the outside, he seemed like an ordinary boy. But inside him lived a sharp mind and a silent ambition. When he became a teenager, Julius Caesar invited him to join a campaign in Spain. Although an accident delayed him on the journey, Caesar noticed something unusual in the young boy, something serious and thoughtful. Caesar began to consider him as more than a relative. He began to see him as a possible heir. In 44 BC, everything changed. Julius Caesar was assassinated in the Roman Senate by senators who believed they were saving Rome from a dictator. But instead of saving Rome, they pushed it into chaos and civil war. Then came the biggest surprise of all. When Caesar's will was read, the entire Roman world was shocked. He had adopted Octavius as his son and made him his legal heir. At that moment, the quiet teenager became Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus. He was only 18 years old. Most powerful men in Rome laughed at him. They believed he was just a child pretending to be important. But Octavian did not argue. He began quietly gathering power. He raised an army with the money Caesar left him. He spoke to the Roman people using Caesar's name. He carefully outmaneuvered experienced politicians. Where Julius Caesar had been bold and dramatic, Octavian was patient and calculating. Rome had entered chaos. The Senate was weak. The people were angry. Another civil war was beginning. Mark Antony, Caesar's powerful general, believed he would take control. But Octavian had other plans. He pretended to be weak while becoming stronger every day. He built alliances and used Caesar's legacy to gain support. Soon he formed an alliance with Mark Antony and Lepidus. Together they created the Second Triumvirate, a group of 3 men who ruled Rome together. But this alliance was not built on friendship. It was built on necessity. They created lists of enemies called proscriptions. Thousands of citizens were marked for death. One of the most famous victims was the philosopher Cicero. After eliminating their enemies, they marched east to fight the men who had assassinated Julius Caesar. Brutus and Cassius. In 42 BC, the armies met at the Battle of Philippi. After a brutal fight, Brutus and Cassius were defeated and both committed suicide. The killers of Caesar were gone, but peace did not last. Soon Octavian pushed Lepidus aside and took his territory. Now only two men remained, Octavian and Mark Antony, and their rivalry would soon change the world. Mark Antony fell deeply in love with Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. Cleopatra had once been the lover of Julius Caesar and had given birth to his son. Antony began living in Egypt with her and behaved more like an Eastern king than a Roman leader. Octavian used this situation brilliantly. He told the people of Rome that Antony had betrayed them and was under the control of a foreign queen. Public opinion turned against Antony. Finally, in 31 BC, the two sides met in a great naval battle near Greece at a place called Actium. Octavian's forces, led by the brilliant general Agrippa, defeated Antony and Cleopatra's fleet. Antony and Cleopatra fled back to Egypt. Knowing defeat was certain, both chose death rather than capture. With their deaths, the civil wars ended. Octavian entered Egypt and took control of its wealth. Soon there were no rivals left. Rome was exhausted from decades of conflict. The people wanted peace and stability. In 27 BC, the Senate gave Octavian a new title, Augustus. It meant the revered one. From that moment, he became the first emperor of Rome. He ruled carefully and quietly. He reformed the army, improved taxes, built roads, and rebuilt the city of Rome. He famously said, "I found Rome a city of bricks and left it a city of marble." Under his rule, Rome experienced a long period of peace known as the Pax Romana. Trade grew. Cities expanded. The empire became stronger than ever. Augustus ruled for more than 40 years. Before his death, he prepared a successor named Tiberius so that Rome would remain stable. In 14 AD, Augustus died peacefully in his bed. For Rome, this was remarkable because many leaders before him had died violently. The Senate declared him a god and temples were built in his honor. But his greatest achievement was not power. It was the system he created. The Roman Empire he built lasted for centuries. Augustus showed the world that true power does not always come from force. Sometimes it comes from patience, planning, and quiet determination. From a weak boy to the ruler of the greatest empire on earth, Augustus proved that history is not always written by the loudest voices. Sometimes it is written by the quietest minds.